Hare Krishna. So we are at in the Dhumna Sarovar. We mentioned last night that there are 5 holy tirthas where if we take a bath, we get liberated. So this is one of them. In the Dhumna Sarovar was actually it's named after King Indradyumna, who installed Jagannath deity. In Satyayug, when he came here to install Jagannath, he was staying in Nilakanteshwar temple, which is near here, one of those temples here. He stayed there, and here he did 1,000 Ashwamedh Yagyas, which Lord Brahma told him to do before installing the deity. After that, he wanted to donate cows to the Brahmanas, so they were all assembled here. 1,000 cows, their hoof prints and cow urine. Then rain came and this formed the Kund. So here there are 3 temples. There's one Sakshi Gopal temple that is on the right side, that side, when we came down. Then in the Dhumna temple, it's on the left side. And Nilakanteshwar, halfway down the stairs, as we were coming down, there was a small Nilakanteshwar temple. Okay, so one of the Pancha Tirtha listed in Skanda Purana. There are 5 Rohini Kund, Mahodadi in the Dhumna Sarovar, Markandeya tank, and Shweta Ganga. So this was formed in Satya Yuga, and it's in Shastra actually. It's in some of the Shastra Smritis, explaining that it's so important. Here, the deity of Lord Jagannath is brought during Vaishak. This is the month now. Now Chandan Yatra is going on. They put Chandan. On the last day, the deity will come here and be taken around on a boat, and it's supposed to be very pleasing. So this is having a spiritualizing effect here, purifying effect. Lord Jagannath himself comes. Another feature of this tank is Caitanya Mahaprabhu used to come here with associates and bathe. He would bathe, and it's mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita that they performed water sports here. So this place is purifying in 3 ways. First, because cows had come, their depression they formed, and the cow urine filled it. Other is that it's the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself comes here. And third is because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself comes and bathes here. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda, this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, spiritual form. So this water is transcendental, and contact with it gives a powerful effect. Just before coming here, nearby, we passed through Gundicha temple. The Gundicha temple is where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed his Gundicha Marjan Lila, the cleaning pastime. Just the day before Rath Yatra starts, he comes and cleans with his associates. He used to stay here, so he was very much absorbed in the festivals of Jagannath. And the water for cleaning Gundicha temple was taken from here. They formed a chain. They put the matka, and like that it went from person to person until the Gundicha temple. So what is the purpose of the pastime? It's mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami that because the deity comes in Gundicha, it was clean first. So he writes that before the Lord has to come in our heart, it has to be clean from so many different dirty things. And how do we do that? The cleaning process is the Sankirtan movement. Cheto Darpana Marjanam. The Sankirtan, chanting of the holy names, cleans the mirror of the heart. So also hearing pastimes of the Lord in the mind, it's also purifying. So there's a section here in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, in chapter 12, it explains about Gundicha Lila. So I'm just going to read that part. It's a few verses, 79 to 136. The next day, early in the morning, the Lord took his personal associate with him and with his own hand smeared sandalwood pulp on their bodies. He then gave each devotee a broom with his hand and taking all of them personally with him, the Lord went to Gundicha, this temple. In this way, the Lord and his associates went to cleanse the Gundicha temple. At first, they cleansed the temple with brooms. The Lord then cleansed everything inside the temple very nicely, including the ceiling. He then took up the sitting place, Singhasan, cleansed it, and again put it in his original place. We didn't go inside, otherwise you would have understood that deity comes inside and is put on a asan, then it's worshipped there. Thus the Lord and his companions cleansed and swept all the temple's buildings, big and small. Finally cleansed the area between the temple and the Kirtan hall. Indeed, hundreds of devotees were engaged in cleansing all around the temple, and Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu was personally carrying out the operation just to instruct others. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu washed and cleansed the temple in great jubilation, chanting the holy name and at the same time performing the holy name of Krishna all the time. Similarly, all the devotees were also chanting and at the same time performing their respective duties. The entire beautiful body of the Lord was covered with dust and dirt. In this way it became transcendently beautiful. At times, when cleansing the temple, the Lord shed tears, and in some places he even cleansed with those tears. After this, the place where the deity's food was kept, Bhoga Mandira, was cleansed. Then the yard was cleansed, then all the residential quarters, one after another. After Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu collected all the straw and dust and grains of sand in one place, he gathered all of it with his cloth and threw it outside. Following the example of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, all the devotees in great jubilation began to gather straw and dust with their own cloths and threw them outside the temple. The Lord then told the devotees, I can tell how much you have labored and how well you have cleansed the temple simply by seeing all the straw and dust you have collected. Even though all the devotees collected dirt in one pile, the dirt collected by Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu was greater. After the inside of the temple was cleansed, the Lord again allotted areas for the devotees to cleanse. The Lord then ordered everyone to cleanse inside the temple very perfectly by taking finer dust, straws and grains of sand and throwing them outside. After Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu and all the Vaishnavas cleansed the temple for the second time, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu was very happy to see the cleansing work. While the temple was being swept, about 100 men stood ready with filled water pots, and they simply awaited the Lord's order to throw water from them. As soon as Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu called for the water, all the men immediately brought the 100 pots which were completely filled and delivered them before the Lord. In this way, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu first washed the main temple, then thoroughly washed the ceiling, the walls, the floor, and the sitting place, Singhasan, and everything else within the room. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu himself and his devotees began to throw water onto the ceiling. When this water fell, it washed the walls and the floor. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu himself and his devotees... Then Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu began to wash the sitting place of the Lord Jagannath with his own hands, and all the devotees began to bring water to the Lord. All the devotees within the temple began to wash. Each one had a broom in his hand, and in this way they cleansed the temple of the Lord. Someone brought water to pour into the hands of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, and someone poured water on his lotus feet. The water that fell from the lotus feet of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu was drunk by someone who hid himself. Someone else begged for that water. Another person was giving that water in charity. After the room was washed, the water was let out throughout an outlet, then flowed and filled the yard outside. The Lord mopped the rooms with his own cloth, and he polished the throne with them also. In this way, all the rooms were cleansed with 100 water pots. After the rooms had been cleansed, the minds of the devotees were as clean as the rooms. Srila Prabhupada would say, when we clean the temple and the kitchen and the pots of the Lord, then our heart and our mind becomes clean. That's why it's an important service for devotees who are beginning in bhakti. When the temple was cleansed, it was purified, cool and pleasing, just as if the Lord's own pure mind had appeared. Since hundreds of men were engaged in bringing water from the lake, There was no place to stand on the banks. Consequently, someone began to draw water from a well. Hundreds of devotees brought water in pots, and hundreds took the empty pots away to fill them again. With the exception of Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Acharya, Swarup, Damodar, Brahmananda Bharati, and Paramananda Puri, everyone was engaged in filling water pots and bringing them there. Many of the water pots were broken when people collided with one another, and hundreds of men had to bring new water pots. Some were filling the pots, others were washing the rooms, but everyone was engaged in chanting the holy name of Krishna and Hari. One person begged for a water pot by chanting the holy name, Krishna, Krishna. Another delivered a pot while chanting, Krishna, Krishna. Whenever anyone had to speak, he did so by uttering the holy name of Krishna. Consequently, the holy name of Krishna became an indication for everyone who wanted something. As Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu was vibrating the holy name of Krishna in ecstatic love, he himself was performing the work of hundreds of men. It appeared as though Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu were cleansing the temple with 100 hands. He approached every devotee just to teach them how to work. When he saw someone doing nicely, the Lord praised him. But if he saw that someone was not working to his satisfaction, he immediately chastised that person, not bearing any grudge. The Lord would say, "You have done well. Please teach others so that they may act in the same way." As soon as they heard Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu say this, everyone became ashamed. Thus the devotees began to work with great attention. They washed the Jagamohan area and then the place where the food was kept. All the other places were also washed. In this way, the meeting room was washed, the entire yard, the raised sitting places, the kitchen, and every room was washed. Thus all places around the temple were thoroughly washed within. After everything was thoroughly washed, a Vaishnava from Bengal, who was very intelligent and simple, came and poured the water on the lotus feet of the Lord. The Gaudiya Vaishnava then took the water and drank it himself. Seeing that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu felt a little unhappy and was also outwardly angry. Although the Lord was certainly satisfied with him, he became angry externally in order to establish the etiquette of religious principles. The Lord then called Swarup Damodar and told him, "Just see the behavior of your Bengali Vaishnava. This person from Bengal has washed my feet within the temple of the personality of Godhead. Not only that, but he has drank the water himself. I now do not know what my destination is because of this offense. Indeed, your Bengali Vaishnava has greatly implicated me." At this point, Swarup Damodar caught the Gaudiya Vaishnava by the neck and, giving him a little push, ejected him from the Gundicha temple and made him stay outside. After Swarup Damodar Goswami returned within the temple, he requested Mahaprabhu to excuse that innocent person. After this incident, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very satisfied. He then asked all the devotees to sit down in 2 lines on both sides. The Lord then personally sat down in the middle, picked up all kinds of straw, grain, sand, and dirty things. While Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was picking up the straws, grains of sand, he said, "I shall gather everyone's collection. I shall ask whoever has collected less than all others to pay a fine of sweet cakes and sweet rice." In this way, all the quarters of Gundicha temple were completely cleansed and cleaned. All quarters were cool and spotless, like one's cleansed and pacified mind. Okay, the pastime goes on and on, but it's important pastime. It occurred here. They took the water from here. And Srila Prabhupada mentions it many times, especially when he said to keep the temple and ashrams clean. He said that when the place is clean, our mind will be clean. And we know he used to quote in English the saying, "Cleanliness is close to godliness." Also here, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed water pastimes. He performed water pastimes with his devotees. They used to come here and bathe and splash water on one another. So I'm just going to, from that section, read it. Just before that, regarding, we were discussing yesterday about the temple of Jagannath. So we were saying how the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came here with the associates and stayed because the deity of Lord Jagannath is very merciful. And we explained why he's merciful. He's merciful because Chaitanya see, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is merciful, but Jagannath is also merciful. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is more merciful. So, Jagannath temple is the place where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu resided himself. He came to visit because he was in the mood of Radharani, and Jagannath is Krishna, but feeling separation from his devotees. So when we pray to Jagannath, his reciprocation is much more, very fast, because he is in separation from his devotees. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada established Jagannath temple first in ISKCON, and he established many more Jagannath temples in many places, and even started Jagannath Rath Yatra, because all the people seeing Jagannath can get purified. Did I mention the pastime yesterday? I think many of you know how in Dwarka that Leela happened. So, yeah, most of you know it. So, therefore, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Krishna took the mood of Radharani as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came to Jagannath Puri, and the pastimes were enacted here. So, in some ways, Jagannath Puri is more important than even Vrindavan, even Navadvip.
Yes, you didn't mention that Dwarka pastime. You said you would mention it.
Okay, Dwarka pastime. I'll mention that we know that Krishna Leela happened, and at some point Krishna left Vrindavan, the Vrindavan pastimes. So when he left, he went to Mathura, then Dwarka. Dwarka was a different mood. He was a king, and he was in a different, awe and reverence, Aishwarya Bhav. So once Rohini, Balram's mother, visited Dwarka. When she came, the queens of Krishna asked Rohini, that can you explain to us the pastimes of Vrindavan? What happened there? Who are the personalities? Why? Because Krishna is always chanting these names, especially at night in his sleep. He's chanting names of all his Vrindavan associates and devotees. So she said, I'll tell the pastime, but if he hears the pastime, he'll leave and he'll return to Vrindavan. So someone has to be guarding at the gate to make sure that he doesn't hear. So nearby was Subhadra Maharani, Krishna's sister. So they told her, you can stand and guard. So she was guarding, and then Rohini was mentioning the pastimes. She heard, Subhadra heard, and went in ecstasy for remembering the pastime. And she took that form of Subhadra in the Jagannath temple. The arms went in, eyes went wide, it's an ecstatic form. Then, now no one is there to guard. So later Balaram came, he heard, he also went in ecstasy. Then Krishna himself. So these are the forms. They're known as Mahabhav Prakash form of Krishna. He's exhibiting great bhav, feeling, emotion. At that time he was feeling separation for his devotees in Vrindavan. Such a powerful separation, but he could not go, he could not. So that's the form of Jagannath. So now if we come before Jagannath and pray, and the devotees come, he reciprocates very fast compared to Krishna and other forms. It's all Krishna. So this is the pastime, and that's why Srila Prabhupada, he established temples of Jagannath, and even this Jagannath Rath Yatra, it's a very powerfully purifying form of Jagannath, of Krishna. Actually it's Krishna, he is in Dwarka but remembering Vrindavan. So why do we say that Jagannath Puri is even more important than Vrindavan? In Vrindavan the pastimes happened, the Leela. But outside, then when Krishna left, he was remembering the pastimes, and Prabhupada gives example of some mundane example of if someone loves someone, when that person is not there, that love is more exhibited. Like a mother, when the child is not there, she'll see the shoe of the child and remember the child and feel much more, separation. And Prabhupada gave example, even two lovers, when one is not there, then the feeling is so great, mundane example. So in the same way, that the love of the devotees when Krishna left was more than when he was there. And of Krishna when he left in Dwarka, that feeling. So therefore, in here, It's love in separation in Jagannath Puri. So it's much more. So this Rath Yatra, it's written about even in different shastras, how it's so, powerful. So while Mahaprabhu was here, he performed many pastimes we are mentioning, and he came as a devotee. So he was living here, living like a devotee, and daily he had a schedule. If you can see the schedule, he'll go to Jagannath, then he'll chant his Sandhya Vandana, then he'll go and take bath in the ocean, and in this way he and festivals he used to celebrate. So he was showing us how we'll serve, how we can remember Krishna. So now I'll just mention the pastimes that happened here from Madhya Leela of Caitanya, Madhya Leela. Here it's mentioned that there were many gardens near Gundicha temple. That time there were gardens here now, And Caitanya Mahaprabhu performed pastimes of Vrindavan in each of them. In the lake named Indradhyumna Sarovar, he sported in the lake. The Lord personally splashed all devotees with water. The devotees surrounded him on all sides and splashed the Lord. While in the water, they sometimes formed one circle, sometimes formed many circles. While in the water, they used to play cymbals and imitate croaking of frogs. Sometimes two would pair off to fight in the water. One would emerge victorious, the other defeated. The Lord would watch all this fun. The first sporting took place between Advaitacharya and Nityananda Prabhu, who threw water upon each other. Advaitacharya was defeated, and he later began to rebuke Nityananda Prabhu, calling him ill names. Sarup Damodar and Vidyanidhi also threw water upon each other, and Murari Gupta and Vasudev Datta also sported in this way. Another duel took place between Srivas Thakur and Gadadhar Pandit, and yet another between Raghav Pandit and Vakreshwar Pandit. Thus they all engaged in throwing water. Indeed, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya engaged in water sports with Sri Ramananda Rai. They both lost their gravity and became like children. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw the exuberance of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Ramananda Rai, he smiled and spoke to Gopinath Acharya. Tell the Bhattacharya and Ramananda Rai to stop their childish play, because they are both learned scholars and very grave and great personalities. Gopinath Acharya replied, I believe that one drop of the ocean of your great mercy has swelled up upon them. A drop from the ocean of your mercy can drown great mountains like Sumeru and Mandara. Since these two gentlemen are like little hills by comparison, it's no wonder they are being drowned in the ocean of your mercy. Logic is like a dry oil cake from which all the oil has been extracted. The Bhattacharya passed his life in eating such dry cakes, but now you have made him drink the nectar of transcendental pastimes. It's certainly your great mercy upon him. After Gopinath Acharya finished talking, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu smiled and, calling for Advaita Acharya, made him act like Sheshnag, bed. Lying down on Advaita Acharya, who was floating in the water, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu demonstrated the pastime of Sheshai Vishnu. Manifesting his personal potency, Advaita Acharya floated about on the water, carrying Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. After sporting in the water for some time, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu returned to his place at Aitota, accompanied by his devotees. Paramananda Puri, Brahmananda Bharati, and all other chief devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took lunch at the invitation of Advaita Acharya. Hare Krishna. So like this, there are many different places. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed pastimes. It's in Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is famous for the water pastimes of Mahaprabhu and the date itself coming here. It will come on the last day of Chandan Yatra. Okay, Hare Krishna. I think we'll end here.